All right, y'all. Happy Wednesday. I made it. I'm here and I'm proud of myself too. I'm so proud of myself. Uh, it is late. It is apparently about 10:20 on the East Coast. It's about 10:20 on the East Coast. It's 9:20 here where I live. But I made it, y'all. I made it. For me, this is all about keeping my word to myself. Um, I also enjoy coming here and just hanging out with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy this. So this is the setup while I wait for hey JRG. Listen, let me tell you who I love from the bottom of my heart. Miss Annette, baby. If you I ain't never met a more loyal individual than Miss Annette, honey. We were just on a call together, and it's late, and it's past Miss Annette's bedtime. But she told me she wasn't going to go to bed till I get on here, and that really make me decide. You know what? You better hurry up because the whole time I'm knowing that Miss Annette is waiting for me. And so I'm like, stop delaying, get yourself over here to the live because you're gonna have Miss Annette up all night. I love you to life for that. I love you. I love you. All right. So listen, guys. At first, I want to explain what's happening with me. All right. If you have ever been in a season of your life where I wouldn't even say life be life, but I think we all go through these sort of seasons where life is just a little more I don't want to say hectic. I want to really use my correct words. Not hectic. You just have more to do than you would normally have to do. And I am in that season. But y'all, when I tell y'all, I feel so good about where God is has me today and where He is taking me that I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it does mean that there's some irregularity in my life. And if anybody knows anything about me, I do better when I have a little organized schedule that I can just follow. The days are not going like that. Okay. But I have been pivoting and pivoting and pivoting some more. All right. And so I made it. And today was just one of those days where I had a lot of things that I had to get done. And the last, 2, maybe 3 days, I've been just kind of burning the midnight oil. And this is what I have figured out today. I woke up this morning and it was a struggle. Okay. I woke up this morning, my body was like, where are you going? And I was like, we have things to do. And my body was like, if it's not lay right here, we have nothing else to do. That's what my body said to me. And so what I told myself is I'm going to go back to my consistent bedtime. So I'm typically in the bed by 10 p.m. and up by 4:35. And for many years, I thought, and people who knew me thought that I was an early riser, and that's not true. I just think my most productive hours, my highest energy zones, when I'm able to really devote my time and attention, like fully focus, are earlier in the day. Not the crack of dawn, but somewhere between 11 and 3 is where I really have the most energy and I'm the most productive. And I can't be just getting off my bike at 9:30 to be in a work zone in a flow state by 11 o'clock. So my sister calling me. She must have got the news that I'm on live. Okay. So anyway, I am setting a boundary with me, with myself. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Boundaries. Y'all gave me this idea yesterday when we were hanging out. I don't even know what was said. Oh, you know what? Let me make sure I'm live on Instagram, y'all. I'm sorry. I think I'm live, but I don't see no comments. Okay. I'm streaming from StreamYard. All right. Because I want to be all over the place. So I'm streaming to 2 Facebook pages, 1 Instagram page, 1 YouTube. But I want to let y'all know I need y'all. If you are not following me on YouTube, please just run on over to YouTube when we get off of here and go to at Coach Tooker on YouTube. And when you do that, I can start streaming from one place. All right. So if you could do that, I would love it. Hey, Sam. Hey, Amy Burt. And so because I'm on Instagram sometimes, I'm on Facebook sometimes, I'm on YouTube sometimes. I stream to all of these places for now. But what happened yesterday was I had YouTube comments here, Instagram comments here. They were coming from every which way, right? So now I got all of them up, and this is not a long-term solution. All right, so let's talk about these boundaries. So the first thing I want to say is a lot of times when we begin the conversation around a boundary, I don't know why, for some reason, we start to feel like it's a negative thing. All right. So that's my main goal today, is to really get you to see that boundaries are good, and how can you introduce them in your life. I believe that as believers, as humans, sometimes we struggle. A lot of the problem areas in most of our lives have to do with us not liking limitations on what we can do. And we saw that in the Bible. Henry Cloud talks about it. God set the first limitation, the first boundary, when he told Adam and Eve, y'all can have everything in this garden except for the fruit on this one tree. And Adam and Eve was like, we want to cross the line. So our human nature, all right, makes us have a hard time with boundaries, I think. But all a boundary is just like a guideline or a limit, right? Where you give permission for how people will behave towards you and how you're going to respond based on, when someone crosses those limits. Henry Cloud talks about it. One of the best books. I went and found my book. This book right here. If you don't have this book, add it to your collection. And don't I'm not saying don't get the audio. I think audio is great, but this is like this a highlighter. This is, you're gonna want to highlight in here. You're gonna write in here. This is a game changer. Okay, this book is a game changer. So Henry Cloud talks about how boundaries are like a fence, like a property line. So if you're a homeowner, my property line ends here and my neighbor's property line ends here. Now you might have a good neighbor like I do. My neighbor, he mows over on the other side of the property line because we get along like this. So he's gonna do that whole side, and when we mow, we do his too. But my other neighbor, she gonna stop right there where her property ends. Okay. And mostly because she doesn't cut her grass, somebody cuts it for her. So they stop. They know where the property line ends. Boundaries in our lives are the same way. All right. So all you're saying with a boundary is, okay, this is the limit for how for my safety. I'm going to place a limit here. It can be done in a physical sense. You can do it with your emotions. It could be mental. It could be spiritual. All right. There are way more. If you read this book, Henry Cloud gave a whole bunch of them. All right. I love this book and I recommend it all the time. All right. I'll drop a link in the description when I get off here. But I want to just encourage you to see boundaries as like a good thing. So this is the example I want to give you to help you see it differently. If you really are a person who struggles, yep, the rules for playing the games of life, and especially if you play them with me. So when I was 240 pounds 4 years ago, a lot of the excess weight that I was carrying was because I didn't have good boundaries with other people, and I didn't have good boundaries with myself. There were no limits or no guidelines for my eating. If I wanted, I was going to get it. There were no boundaries. All right. Also, with people, because I used to have a tendency to be a people pleaser, I'm typically going to agree to go with the get along unless I really feel strongly about it. Now, I'm gonna pipe up if I feel strongly about it. But if it's like, can I help you? I'm a servant. So if I can help you, I'm gonna do it. And sometimes it would be at the detriment of myself. All right. So as I started coaching more, I learned that this is common. There are a lot of us who don't know how to tell other people no. We think it's a negative thing to tell someone no. I think it's only fair that you let people know what the boundaries are with with regard to your personal space, right? Where is it okay to touch you? How much, I got some friends that I can go in their house and I can go through their drawers. There are a few of them, but some people, I'm just gonna be in the living room, right? I can't just come in everybody's house, just putting on hair products and being in their bathroom, and that's not the case, right? Because they have set a boundary that could be altered as our relationship grows. Okay, so it's important that we're able. Hey, Mary. Hey, Amy. It is important that we are able to tell people, all right, where the limits are with us, and that we are respectful with the limits with other people. All right. So it's not a negative thing. So this is the example. If you think boundaries are bad, this is what I want you to do. If you live in an apartment, if you live anywhere, I want you to go outside and I want you to roll down the windows of your vehicle and I want you to unlock the doors and I want you to go in your house and go to bed. Better yet, I want you to leave the door to your house open. Leave the doors, leave the windows, leave them all open, right? All right. And then I want you to come on, bring yourself in the house and go get in the bed. All right. It's the reason that we say, you know what, let me lock this door. because there's some security and some safety that we get from knowing that, okay, we're going to lock these doors because we're going to keep people that we don't want outside, right? We're going to keep ourselves physically safe, all right? So boundaries with your personal self are the same. You are putting a boundary in place to protect you, your emotions, and your mental well-being, all right? So boundaries just keep you from experiencing things like manipulation or hurt or being taken advantage of, all right? But when you lock your doors, it's a way of saying, I value this car and I don't want anything to happen to it. So when you set boundaries with people, you say, I value myself and I don't want anything to happen to me. All right. And so you are really respecting other people by making it clear to them what behavior is acceptable, right? And keeping the relationship healthy. I'm letting you know that this is not okay with me so that we can have a relationship that's healthy where we both understand and respect each other. See, I think that we think that our relationships are healthy if we never have arguments or if we never have disagreements. And that's not true. Some of my closest friends have said or done things I don't agree with, and I'm going to still love you. I'm going to let you know I don't agree, but we have a commitment to each other. We're going to work this thing out, but I don't got to agree with everything you say. All right. So I think a lot of times we're afraid to kind of rock the boat because we don't want people to be mad at us. There's a whole lot with that. But boundaries help you make clear guidelines for how you want, like a clear limit for how people will be able to treat you. And I think it's an act of kindness because now to me, it reduces misunderstandings. It reduces conflicts in our relationships. All right. Because if I am hurt or feel betrayed or feel taken advantage of or harmed or unsafe based on somebody else's behavior and what they do, and I never communicate that to them, how can I ever expect them to make the adjustment that it takes to remain in healthy relationship with me? All right. So it's only fair, just like if I come to your house, it's certain permission I got to get in your house. You're really giving people permission for how to treat you and what to do with you, and they're giving you the same thing if they have great boundaries. All right. The next thing I think that boundaries do, it protects what's in the house. It protects what's in the house. Okay, so this is what I know to be true. Y'all, I know y'all if you saw my Facebook post, I have been studying Acts for quite some time. I'm taking my slow time with it, but I'm literally digesting Acts. It's taking a while because I'm studying other things alongside it. So some days I do get to my Acts, the section of Acts that I want to read. But before Acts, we did Luke. Okay. When we were studying Luke, every single scripture, every story that we read in Luke, the theme was the same. God is concerned about the condition of his heart. It was like over and over and over and over again. The central theme, the central message is God is concerned about the condition of his heart. All right. I'm going somewhere. So this is what boundaries do for you. When I realize I'm in an unsafe situation, and remember we said unsafe could be spiritual, it could be mental, it could be emotional, it could be physical. All right. I'm in an unsafe situation, something that has the propensity to harm me, to harm the condition of my heart. See, because when my heart is hurting, there's energy. There's like mental energy, emotional energy that's draining me, taking energy from other things. So I'm not stored in my heart well, which is a resource. All right. But everything I do. So when I was a teacher, if my heart wasn't in the right place, it's a job. It's harder to be a teacher if your heart is not in the right place. So I owe it to myself and the people that I serve to keep the condition of my heart a certain way. So that means I can't allow things like bitterness, anger, resentment, all these things to take root in my heart. So when you don't set a boundary, you just let people do whatever they want to do to you. And now you are emotionally injured. All right. I remember once I had a conversation with a very close family member of mine, and it was something so small, like and trivial. But the truth is, I felt that the person should have done something and they didn't. And the way they handled it was nothing major, y'all. But I made it major because I'm an emotional person. I thought they should have done something. They didn't do it the way I thought they should have did it. I kind of called them, and asked them some questions like, oh, so you weren't going to tell me that you was da 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 da. Y'all, I was in a mood because the truth is, I felt like the person was not being honest with me. I felt like they were hiding something from me. This is all a made up story in my head, okay? And so I called them, and y'all, that thing had me down for like half the day because I was in my feelings. I have a friend I used to be in a community with named Valari Humphrey, and Valari used to say, she used to call these Kiki moments after the Drake song, Kiki, do you love me? When you in your feelings, after the song, she said, when you in your feelings, because I was having a Kiki moment. Y'all, the Kiki moment got so heavy that I went and got into bed. I'm a whole coach out in these streets. I'm serving people, but not right now. I'm in the bed because I'm having a whole kiki moment. And another friend called me and said, "What you doing?" And I said, "Laying down because so and so da 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 da." And it hurt my feelings. And she was like, "Look at you, look at you." First of all, is y'all? I promise you this. I only just for to protect the innocent, to keep the saints, safe. Protect the innocent. I'm not gonna say what happened, but I promise you it was small. They went somewhere. I thought they should have told me they went. That was the gist of it. Okay. And I found out on the social media streets that they went. And I'm like, so you can tell nobody. Y'all was in the bed. But like, praise God for my friend that called and told me the truth. All right. But what if I would have handled that situation completely different? And what if I would have said, you know what, when you know, do this. This is how I felt in this situation. I feel like it's not putting any blame on them, saying they should have, but this made me feel like you were keeping something from me. All right. And my feelings are hurt and I'm gonna be okay. I'm a big girl. All right. What if I would have handled it like that? Nope. I got an attitude and got in bed. All right. So all I'm saying is that you owe it to yourself and everybody around you to put these boundaries in place. Is only fair. All right. Also, when you put boundaries in place, listen, y'all, it frees everybody up from these weird expectations that we have of people. Okay. We think that everybody thinks like us. I don't know why we think this way. We think everybody has the same mindset that we do. They think just like we do. All right. So we put these weird expectations on people like you should have done this. Well, a boundary says, you know what? You do you and I do me. All right. Now, people who are close to me, I have core values. So there's certain values that I need to see in you, right? And so, but you are free. You are free to do you. But as it relates to me, all right, these are the, almost like required, these are the limits. This is as much as I will allow your doing you to come over on this side of the fence, all right? But everybody's free to pursue whatever is important to them. You don't have to feel bound to do something because you don't want to make me upset, right? Everybody's free to pursue what is important to them. And prayerfully, I'm one, but if I'm not, I have to be okay with it. All right. So I want you to know that setting boundaries is just like the reason why you lock your door tonight. Some of us lock our doors, listen, we got these new windows a couple of years ago, and it had the little things where I guess you could leave the windows open, but it's only gonna go so far. Okay. It has a little thing to keep it won't go so far. So we have to set, that's it. We have to set the boundaries. And that's how we got on this conversation yesterday. So a lot of times we sitting here and we're saying, so-and-so should do this and so-and-so should do this and so-and-so should do that. So we were talking about somebody calling me, and it wasn't no one person. It was like emails, texts, just things going off on my phone. And I'm in church. And I remember saying, don't these people know I'm at church? Why are they texting me and it's 11:45? I'm at church. Why they not at church, right? Because I'm expecting them to know what's important to me. No, I had to create the boundary. So I had to say, okay, I'm gonna put my phone on do not disturb. When I pull up at the church, it goes on do not disturb. And when I pull off, it comes off do not disturb. That's me putting a limit in place for the people around me for when I am available to them. All right. It makes everything healthy. It makes everything healthy because I'm not upset. I'm not annoyed at the fact that they called me during church. I hope they're not annoyed by the fact that they can't get me. Some of them required me to realize I'm not that deep. So I used to think that like all the emergencies required my participation. All the emergencies are mine. All right. I'm not that deep. I'm not God. So I don't have to be available to everybody for every situation. So if there's an emergency, they're gonna work it out. All right. Until I get out of church. All right. So boundaries for me, I feel like it makes a safe environment where everybody can focus on being the best version of themselves. All right. Without being bound by these expectations and these needs that other people have. All right. So just like the locked door makes you feel secure, it gives you privacy in your house. All right. It gives you freedom to be the best version of yourself. Remember, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All right. So when you set boundaries, what you're saying to people is, I value me enough. I value me so much that I have to protect me. I have to protect the condition of my heart. Because the truth is, God got something for me to do, and I can't do it with a bitter heart. I can't do it with a resentful heart. I can't do it with an angry heart. All right. So this could involve, like, you could have conversation like, y'all ever had somebody, I ain't gonna touch this today. Y'all ever had somebody that just get on y'all last nerve, you know? And it's like you're annoyed with the person before they even speak. They ain't said nothing and you got attitude, right? That is an effect on the condition of your heart. Everything about your demeanor and how your mood and everything changes when you allow those things to upset you. All right. So, all right. So, knowing this, boundaries give us peace of mind so that we can live a thriving life where we are able to freely focus on the important things that God had us to do, because He really wants us to be the best version of ourselves in all of these areas. All right. And being bound up by what somebody thinks we should do is going to keep us off track from what God told us to do. All right. So, some of y'all are like, man, I haven't set some boundaries in a long, long time. We think we have to be everything to everybody. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips. I got a whole bunch, but I'm just going to share a few because I want y'all to put them into practice right away. Listen, communication. If communication is not a skill that you have developed, I would recommend that you figure out what books you need to read, what kind of coach you need to get, what kind of program do you need to join, but you are going to have to work on communicating. All right. So this is a curse that I see in a lot of families. Yeah, and I know y'all see this. I think somebody call it triangulation. Okay. Cousin A do something to make me upset, but I don't tell cousin A I'm upset with him. I go to cousin B and I be like, guess what cousin A did? And then when me and cousin B talk about cousin A, now cousin B acting crazy with cousin A, right? But the person I never had a conversation with was cousin A. I don't know why we do this. I don't know why. Maybe y'all don't, but I've seen it. Okay. I will not say any names to protect the innocent. So listen, learn how to clearly communicate the boundaries to the people around you in a direct way. And this is not pipe up at the people. You still got to be respectful. Be respectful and be direct. Be specific about what are the things that are okay with you and what are the things that they not gonna do. And you ain't got to say it like that. All right. But you have to really be confident and be able to say, hey, this is what I need. These are my expectations. All right. And then you give them the freedom to make the adjustments, because you can't make nobody do nothing. But you can say, in relationships that are close to me, I typically need to feel, you know, trust. So if you got a friend that tell all your business, you can say, when someone's close to me, I would like to believe that I could tell them things in confidence. And you say it in a direct way, and you tell them specifically what is not okay with you. All right. And what it is that you would like to see happen. Doing it is up to them. All right. So get better at communicating. None of these, like, we throw shade, we say things low key, we saying a lot, but we ain't saying a lot. Say it directly, be honest, but keep the respect, like cover it in respect, keep it respectful. All right. And so that might require you now for you to process some of these emotions that you're feeling before you have a conversation. One way you can do that is don't go in there blaming them and say, you always telling my business. You could say, I feel like I can't trust you when you tell my business. So always say I statements. Say it in terms of like you, not them. All right. So when you set the boundaries, you want to say, listen, because you taking ownership. Like, I'm not talking about nothing you did, but I can't nobody tell you about how you feel, your feelings, and what you need. They can't tell you about that. You can get caught up arguing back and forth about whether they did what you said they did. However the story goes, this is how I feel when it happens. All right. This is what I need in this relationship. All right. So use I statements. Don't go in there pointing the fingers at the people. Take ownership of your own feelings and your own needs and tell the people what you need. Yep. There's a name for that. I got to find out what it is. There's a name, Miss Annette, For it's like it's a generational curse. And it's because difficult conversations can be uncomfortable, right? And I think for me, one of the easiest ways, stick to the facts and the facts about what I feel and what I need. You can't tell me we can't, there's no argument about what I feel. There's no argument about what I need. We can't argue about that. Now, I may have misinterpreted what you did or your intentions when you did what you did. There's some room for interpretation there. But my needs and my feelings, there's no argument. I felt like I couldn't trust you. I felt hurt. So when I told my family member, I felt like you were keeping something from me. The family member said, everything was just moving so fast and I wasn't keeping anything from you. I just was moving fast and it didn't occur to me. So now I got to give grace. I have to assume that what they're saying is true. All right. Now, if this is a consistent pattern on their part, I can say, you always seem to be moving fast when they come to notify me, right? But if that's what they said, they were moving fast and, in the midst of just rushing, they didn't get a chance to call and notify me of what was happening. I have to receive that and give them grace. Okay. I was going to say something. I'm going to keep it. All right. So now, once you set the boundary, here we go, y'all. Once you set the boundary with the people and you tell the people, listen, this is what I need, it is your responsibility to enforce them. You cannot expect for the other people to hold up your boundaries, the ones that you're using to protect you. You can't expect them to be responsible for it. All right. It is your responsibility to stand on business. You know what I'm saying? Even if they try to disregard them or they try to push back. All right. So I remember, when I was a teacher, it could have been any season of my teaching career because teaching is just this type of profession. But this one specific time, I do remember my daughter was like, she might have been one. She might have been one. And I was a brand new teacher, y'all. And when I tell y'all, I was born to teach. I know the guy made me to teach. Okay. So I love my job. Okay. And I just wanted to get to work every day and do the very best job I could every single day because I love the job. I love the kids. And I was having the greatest time in my life. So lesson plan, I want my lessons to be right. So I would go to work early and then I would leave late. I wish my principal, Kim Warfield, would jump on here because she'd be right with me. Leave late planning these lessons. And so one day my daughter comes up to me and she's a little baby and she touches me on my leg. And I was in the middle of something. I'm like, hold on, baby, give me a second, hold on. And I did like this. And my husband was on the other side of the room and he looked at me and he said, I'm not really sure. I know you love your job and everything. I know you super teacher of the year, which I never was. He was like, but you're going to need to get your priorities together. He was like, you are going to need to make sure that you are there when your child needs you. And I was like, ooh, right? And I want to publicly thank him for that because honest to goodness, after that happened, I wasn't even aware of how much I was immersed in work and just going to work every day and digging in and giving all I had because I wanted to be a good teacher. But I had to realize no, I have multiple areas of my life where I have to manage my time and my energy. So it was then that these two things happened. That, and then one day I was leaving work and it was another teacher leaving with me and they had nothing in their hands. And I said, where you going? You ain't got no papers to grade? And he told me, he said, I don't bring my family to this school. So why would I take this to my family? So those two things led me to create a boundary with my job. Now, I will say, there are seasons that are busier than others, like testing season, and I recognize and I have to share with my family. I would say, it's testing season. We're going to be working late. We're going to be working on Saturdays. It's just the season we're in. But as a general rule, that was when I stopped staying in school all day, okay? Because I used to be at school from 7 in the morning to 8 at night because I was a drill team sponsor too. So I taught and I sponsored drill team 7 in the morning, 8 at night. After that happened, maybe 4:15, the latest, okay? And I'm out of here, right? So, of course, the school always has something. You know what I'm saying? It's just teachers do stuff. But I have for the majority of my teaching career have kept that boundary in place, all right? That I'm not going to be sponsoring all these dances. I'm not going to all these. I'm not because I have a family and I have a duty to Manage my resources well. Okay. So it's your responsibility. That's the point. It wasn't my principal's job to say, Miss James, you go on home. That's not her job. She a principal. She don't let me stay long as I want to stay. It was my responsibility to say, this is the standard, and I'm sticking to it. All right. When you do this, you show you how much you love and respect you. And you're really saying that this boundary is not something I just said out of my mouth. I really meant what I said. So being able to consistently uphold the boundary, that's where you do your standing on business. Okay. You stand on business for everything else. All right. All right. So when you set boundaries, just know that it's really you taking care of yourself, making your needs, not being selfish. All right. Because when you take good care of you, so this is where I had the game twisted because I thought I think this was like a spiritual maturity thing, but I thought that serving others well meant that I had to serve me less. All right. And I actually thought it was selfish for me to tell people no so that I could take this time for me. All right. But when you set the boundary and you take it and you take care of you, what it's going to do is allow you to show up as a better, more full version of yourself for them. So they really get you thinking you're giving them, you're making yourself less available, but no, when you show up and you do serve, you're presenting a better, more fulfilled version of yourself. All right. So if you struggle setting boundaries, it takes practice. All right. You need to get in a community of people. You need to, therapy could be an option. You need a coach. You have to figure out how to do this for you. All right. Learn to say no and set boundaries. And that's not no to everything, but this is the gift you give people when you set a boundary. When you say no, so what my principals learn is I'm at nothing that you ask me to be at because I feel like I gotta be here. But everything, if I come to the dances because I want to come, I really want to be here. I really want to be here. That's the gift you give people when you learn to make your no's mean no and your yeses mean yes. So even now, it's probably some friends on here that can attest. They didn't ask me to go somewhere and do some things. And if I don't want to do it or I'm unable to do it because of the season I'm in or whatever responsibilities I have, it really is a no. Because what I'm not going to do, and I would encourage you to do the same, is show up begrudgingly, not really wanting to be there, but I don't want you to be mad at me, so I'm here. All right. So learn to say no. All right. Say it nicely, respectfully. All right. I'm not telling you to go out here and disrespect people. It doesn't mean you'll never like step up when you don't want to, but it shouldn't be a common practice, is what I'm saying. All right. So listen, this is what I want you to know. Boundaries are good. Boundaries are a good thing. If you don't believe me, if you're scared to set boundaries, just leave your door open tonight. All right. Just leave the door wide open and let the people come in. You ain't gonna get no sleep. That unrest that you feel, that you would feel if your front door were wide open, your front door, your back door, and your garage were wide open, is the same unrest that happens in your heart when you don't set boundaries with people physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's the same unrest. All right. So the way you would toss and turn if you knew your front door was wide open, that's what happens when you don't set boundaries. All right. We got in under 45 to 40 minutes or so, something like that. So I will be here tomorrow. If y'all got some questions, y'all can drop them in the chat. Before I go, I had so much fun. I love this, y'all. I really love this. I'm in a season of my life where I'm thanking God so much that I get to do this. I love it. So if you are not following me on YouTube, please, 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 because this 4 different screens set up. I got YouTube here, Facebook here, one Facebook I don't see. So if you're on my business Facebook page, I can't see it. And then I got IG here. So I got comments in all these different places. So I think we should move into one space. And I think YouTube is that. I like the way YouTube allows you to memorialize things and really create a catalog of things for people. So if you're not following me on YouTube, just go to @CoachTucker on YouTube. If you struggle to set boundaries, I can help you. Come see me tomorrow. I have a free coaching session tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is go to happynewyearnow.com, happynewyearnow.com, and free coaching session tomorrow. But we do this all the time. So in my community, the Success Squad, we were supposed to read this, but we swapped it out for an even better book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. So we'll pick this up in probably April because we already have our March book. So we read together, we do life together, we celebrate each other, we have an amazing time together. All right. So that's all, y'all. I love y'all all the way to life. And I will see you tomorrow. And I will try to my best to be an excellent steward of your time and get here earlier tomorrow. All right. All right. I love y'all life. Have a good evening. Peace.